If you keep calling yourself lazy, but your mind feels loud, tired, restless, and impossible to settle, you may not be lazy at all. You may be overstimulated. And that changes everything, because laziness usually feels flat. Overstimulation feels crowded. It feels like too much input, too much switching, too much mental traffic, until even simple things start to feel heavy. So before you judge yourself again, here are 7 signs your brain may be overloaded, not lazy. Sign 1. Small tasks feel weirdly hard to start. When your brain is overstimulated, even tiny tasks can feel strangely difficult to begin. Not because the task is too hard, not because you do not care, but because your brain already feels full. Replying to one message, opening one email, folding a few clothes, starting one short task. On paper, these things are small, but to an overloaded brain, they do not feel small. They feel like one more demand. And when everything already feels like one more thing, your system hesitates. That is not always laziness. Sometimes it is mental saturation. Sign 2. You keep switching stimulation, not actually focusing. A lot of people think they have an attention problem when what they really have is a stimulation loop. You check your phone, then switch tabs, then play a video, then think about something else, then go back to your phone, then open another app. It looks like multitasking, but it is usually not. It is often a brain that has gotten so used to constant input that stillness starts to feel uncomfortable. So instead of settling into one thing, it keeps reaching for the next signal. Not because it wants depth, because it has adapted to noise. Sign 3. You feel tired, but not calm. This is one of the clearest signs. You are tired. You know you are tired. But you do not feel peaceful. You feel wired, restless, mentally itchy. You want to rest, but resting does not come naturally. The body slows down a little, but the mind keeps scanning. That usually means your system is not just low on energy, it is also high on input. An overstimulated brain often does not move straight into calm. It moves into agitation first. And that is why so many people say, "I am exhausted, but I still cannot settle." Sign 4. Silence feels harder than it should. If your first instinct in a quiet moment is to turn something on, this one may be familiar. Music, a podcast, a video, background noise, scrolling, anything to fill the space. Now, liking sound is normal. Liking entertainment is normal. But if silence feels uncomfortable, almost like your system does not know what to do with it, that can be a sign of overstimulation. Because once the brain gets used to constant input, quiet can feel unfamiliar. And what feels unfamiliar can feel unsafe, or at least uncomfortable. So the brain reaches for more noise, not because it needs it, but because it has forgotten how to land without it. Sign 5. Small things start feeling like too much. A message, a decision, a minor change in plans, one extra request. None of it sounds dramatic, but somehow it all feels heavier than it should. That is another sign your brain may not be lazy. It may be overloaded. When your nervous system has been carrying too much stimulation for too long, your tolerance drops. Little things stop feeling little. Not because you are weak, because your system has less room left. And when there is not much internal space left, even tiny things can feel intrusive. Sign 6. What you call procrastination feels more like internal traffic. Sometimes people say, "I keep procrastinating," when what they really mean is, "My brain feels jammed." You want to start. You even care about the thing. But the inside of your mind feels crowded. Too many thoughts, too many tabs open, too many competing signals. So you freeze, or delay, or wander into distraction. That does not always mean you lack discipline. Sometimes it means your brain is processing too many inputs at once and cannot find a clean lane forward. That is not a character flaw. That is cognitive congestion. Sign 7. Rest does not restore you the way it used to. This one catches a lot of people. You rest, but you do not feel restored. You lie down, but you scroll. You take a break, but you consume more input. You stop working, but your brain is still being fed noise. And sometimes the problem is not that you never rest. It is that your version of rest still contains stimulation. A brain that is flooded all day does not always recover from more content, more screens, more signals, even if those things feel easy or comforting in the moment. Sometimes what the brain needs is not more pleasant input. Sometimes it needs less input altogether. Closing. If you saw yourself in several of these signs, do not turn that into another reason to judge yourself. An overstimulated brain is not a weak brain. And it is not a lazy brain. It is often just a brain that has been asked to process too much, too fast, for too long. So maybe the answer is not more pressure. Maybe it is fewer signals, cleaner rhythms, more space, more moments where your nervous system gets a real chance to land. Because calm is not something you force. Very often, it is something you allow. And sometimes, the first step is simply realizing this. You were never lazy in the way you thought. You were overloaded. Which one sounded most like you? The noise? The exhaustion? Or the constant switching?